Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Life After Kids with Doctors Brooke and Lynn. I'm Dr. Brooke.
And I'm Dr. Lynn.
And this is Mabel.
and
that's Nellie. And you might even see Journey coming over here. And they are not our friends per se. If you're listening and not watching, we don't have a group of girlfriends with us. They're the dogs, but they're like girlfriends. Yes. Happy Mother's Day, first of all.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yes, I know. We all deserve a pat on our backs for all that we've done.
I wonder what gift I'm getting. I wonder what gift they're going to get me.
Oh, you mean like it's going to be a big shocker because you didn't pick it?
Because gifts is my love language. So it's like always Mother's Day. We tend to, Christmas is about the kids. Mother's Day is about me.
It should be.
So usually I pick out my own gift.
And then, you're going to be happy. I do the same.
Yeah. But I like your little tip about getting a list and then you're still surprised.
Yes.
So we do that.
Because you don't know.
Yes.
It's always good to have a little gift list or wish list because they're inevitably going to want to get you something at some point in the year. So
yep.
That's helpful.
All right. That is not our topic today.
That is not our topic, but I do enjoy talking about gifts for us.
Me too.
And Mother's Day. But tell them what we're talking about. We just thought we'd keep it light and fun for Mother's Day.
Conversation. And hopefully we all laugh some, but we're talking about favorite and not so favorite things from childhood.
What spurred me on? All these memes that come up in our feed of just this silliness.
Yes. There's a great account. And I think it's like I grew up in the 70s or 80s or something like that. And
he's got great stuff.
He does a good job in, bringing you back memory lane.
Agreed completely.
Right.
So that's kind of where we thought, let's have a discussion about. And I wonder, I'm excited to talk. I have no idea what you're going to say. You have a list. I have nothing. So we'll see where this goes. But I wonder how similar or different, just because you grew up in Canada and I in the States. I don't know if things are a lot different.
I still do things where I'll turn and look at Mark and I'll be like laughing because it brings me back to my childhood. And I'll look at him. I'll be like, is that a thing? Like, did you have that? And he's like, I have no idea.
What are you even saying right now?
So we definitely did some things different. But I'm sure we have a lot alike too.
Yeah.
Just from the time period. All of the
absolutely,
Jazzercise and Olivia Newton-John, Physical, like that was something, and Thriller, and right? Are you too young for that?
No, I'm not that much behind you. I mean, you definitely are older than me. I'm so glad you mentioned that because listen, okay, before we dive in, you just brought to mind something from my childhood. My mother was, God bless her, she lived her life for us. She worked inside the home.
Yep.
And she loved to exercise, but we were always with her when she exercised. Like she exercised just about every day, but we were always there. So she would exercise in the house and sometimes she'd have friends over, but we would exercise with her. I don't know how she had the patience for it because I would have kicked the kids out, but she had these records. Right. So they were it was a record that you would put on. And I remember the women in their leotards and their leg warmers. Remember leg warmers? Yes. I'm not kidding. And it was a record that would play the music, but tell you what to do during the my brother and I still laugh because my brother would do it with us. And there was
Richard
one,
Simmons.
It was like that, but there was no video to watch. It was just on record. And there was one song, the song that you and Mark danced to at your wedding, Don't Go Changing. Yeah. I can't believe I'm singing right now.
That's
the Billy Joel song. But that was at the end. And I could just hear the music would be going, but then you'd hear stretch, arms overhead and flat. And that was a whole thing. The exercise videos. But before the VCR videos, you didn't have that. Just there was exercise records.
On vinyl.
Yes.
Yes. Oh gosh, vinyl.
But
did you have 8 tracks?
No.
Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
Okay. So back in the day when you wanted to play music, you had this great big console table and you'd open up the lid and it usually was like a piece of furniture too, but you'd open up the lid and your record player would be in there.
Yeah.
Well, after record players, it went to 8 tracks and they were like big cassettes, and you stuck it in
we had to have had that because we had records.
CDs.
Okay.
It came before CDs.
And before cassettes.
Oh, before cassettes. I'm sorry. Before cassettes. Yeah.
and CDs.
'Cause it's
Okay.
cassettes and-
See, this is one of the things. And by the way, records, we all grew up with records and now like everybody wants to play records again. You got yourself
Yeah.
a
What goes around comes around.
yeah, because the sound quality is different.
Remember, did you make mixtapes?
Oh my gosh. That's such a good one.
How did we even do that? Didn't we just tape it on our little tape player from the radio? Didn't we hit like record and it would be like right next to the radio?
It would have to be because that's actually how did we do that?
No.
Or were we playing it on another? Wait, because then wasn't there a time where two could play it? There was like
Oh yeah.
there were two
Yeah,
cassette
yeah.
players, so you could play
That was your
one,
ghetto blaster.
yes, and record on the other.
Oh my gosh.
But
that's
think
hilarious.
about the labor of love that would be to rewind and fast forward and get to the end of one song to start a
Oh,
new song.
no.
And then when you got the tape and you wanted to play it to get to the song you wanted,
Yeah, there was no index.
there was no just press the button or skip. It was
fast
wow.
forward.
Imagine our kids if they had to deal with that.
They would be so like they would
No.
spontaneously combust.
I think they would.
Their brains would explode.
I think they would, but
Yeah.
I loved a good mixtape and I would give them to my friends for
Yeah.
presents. I had mixtapes about the boys that I had a crush on. Like they never saw that, but I mean, I had mixtapes for everything and they all had cute names
Oh, gosh, music and Walkmans.
and Walkmans.
Yeah.
Oh, you're good. Is this on
Oh,
your list
yeah.
or is this just
No,
from the
none
top
of
of your
it.
head?
So what do I have on here on my list? Lunch boxes with cartoon characters on them. Did you have those?
Oh my gosh, the metal ones.
Were they metal or were they plastic?
I
We
had metal and
plastic
then
ones.
plastic. Metal first
Okay.
and then plastic. And yes,
Oh,
the
wow.
cartoon
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Who would you have had on your?
strawberry shortcake,
Oh
hands
my
down.
gosh.
I loved strawberry shortcake.
Mm-hmm. I can't even, probably Barbie or something. I can't even think about who I would have had on there.
I'm certain
And
it was
again,
strawberry shortcake.
Barbie goes around, comes around.
Yeah, she's
She's
popular
huge.
again too. And speaking of strawberry shortcake, this will also lead me to my other one. Do you remember the Halloween costumes that were basically just like a plastic bag with the and this weird scary mask that had the elastic tie around your head? There were just two little holes for your eyes. Like there was definitely no thought into the costume at all. You just put this bag over.
And then you probably had your winter coat over it.
And you had your winter coat over it. But that made me think of it because I won a strawberry shortcake one year. What were we thinking?
I mean, it was cool at the time. Just like acid wash jeans.
Oh, those are
Did you
coming
have
back.
those? I know. I see those.
Yeah.
Those aren't, I don't think those ever really fully went out.
Oh, they didn't?
But they were a big deal when they landed on the scene. Like nowadays, we've seen it all with
Yep.
fashion.
Yep.
But back in the day, don't you remember? They were like scandalous
Yes. I do remember
in
that.
a way. And ripped jeans.
Ripped
Oh
jeans.
goodness.
How about, did you peg your jeans?
Peg my
You never
jeans.
pegged your jeans?
Like with rhinestones or something?
No, like you had to have done this. Maybe you called it something different. The bottom, if it was too loose, you would fold it over
Oh,
and then you would roll it so
Yeah.
it would be real tight
we
on the
called it
bottom.
pegs.
Yeah, what'd you call
We
it?
just call it rolled.
Well, you Canadians are really creative.
We're so creative.
Yes, but did you do that too?
Yeah, that was like the preppy look.
Oh
you know,
yeah.
like you were prep or you were like not grunge because grunge came later, but punk, I guess.
Yes. And
Preppy or punky.
yes, and I would peg my jeans and then I would wear not one, but two pairs of socks layered, different
Yes.
colors that matched my shirt and you
Oh,
can see both
my
of them.
Goodness.
That's why you had to
With the
roll or
polo
peg
shirt,
the jeans.
with the polo shirt and the collar stuff.
Yes. And so you could see the socks.
Yeah.
You had to roll the jeans. You could see the socks
I
underneath.
feel like we're in a John Waters movie.
Who's John
Or-
Waters?
Wasn't it John Waters?
Maybe. I just
Yeah,
probably
like
don't know him.
16 Candles, or he did all the movies.
I
like
figured that's
St.
where you were
Elmo
going.
Fire and
Oh,
yeah, those are
such
good.
good days.
Bring you back for sure. Next, big hair. Speaking of polo shirts with flip collars,
I
did
didn't
you
have big hair.
Hair with the curl?
Not so much. Did you? I need to see these.
No,
And you don't have photos because
Oh,
Betty threw out
so
everything.
bad. The other day, so at the office, we're doing this kickback for just encouraging patients to get pictures for our EHR. So our office manager came up with this cute idea to have a class photo of ours from so
Oh
she
boy.
needed an old photo. Long story short, I asked my mom because all my photos from back then are in Canada. She sends me a bunch of photos.
Or in the garbage dump.
No, half of them are my sister. I'm like,
That's what happened with the second and third child. Nobody cares.
No, she did. She did not overdo herself in taking pictures. That's for sure.
But you've said before, I'm teasing you, but like you guys don't hold on to stuff.
No, no. I mean, I remember my grandmother quilted her a blanket, and it was like she was very close to her. It was her grandmother, and she was very close to her. And I remember one day she was throwing it out, and I was like, "Mom, that's your grandmother's blanket." And she's like, "Yeah, but it's old. It needs to go."
You've talked about this before on a previous.
If it has a use, it stays around. If it doesn't have a use, it doesn't.
I can't even wrap my brain around that. And
Yeah.
I just did a post about that, about getting, because we're moving
Yes.
and getting rid of stuff. And like, I wish you were with me because I would downsize so much when I'm moving. She'd be just like,
I would
pitch it, pitch
chuck
it,
it.
pitch it.
I know.
Anyway,
Back to things that
Sorry,
take
yes.
us down memory lane. So the phones, all of the phones. I mean, from the dialogue phone where you had the little, remember, and you shared a phone, and there was only one phone in
Oh
your
my
house,
gosh.
in your kitchen.
and it was on
And
a
so when you were
cord,
talking to a boy you liked, everybody could hear.
not unless the
and
cord
you
was
had to have
long enough that you
permission.
could wrap to the bathroom and shut the
Yes.
door.
Oh my gosh.
Can you imagine?
That is
And
real.
how about like the cool phones that they had then? Like I kid you not, I had a phone in my bedroom because by then you could
Yes.
have separate lines.
That was like a set of lips.
I didn't have the lips. I had a red spiked high heel. It sat and the numbers were where you would put the foot
Yeah.
and you would talk
Those were
on the red
worst,
high
though.
heel.
I mean, they looked good, but they were like totally, that
They
would
were
be
not
what-
comfortable to talk on.
No, and it came from China. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't
Well, as
great.
most things do.
Yeah. Wasn't the best technology we had in the day.
No, but I loved, like,
Yeah,
I
you
will
were
never
so
forget that.
cool
Actually, I don't
with
think
that
I
phone.
remembered that phone until just right now, but I thought that phone was, and why? I never wore red high heels. Like, what was the red high heel for?
I just remember my sister would pick up the phone and she'd be like, "Yeah, it's my turn. You need to get off." Like she'd be in the basement and you're trying to talk to your friend, and oh my
That
gosh,
was
you
not-
could share the phone.
Yeah, I probably didn't, because I was raised
You
with
didn't
two
have
brothers and I
sisters.
was the oldest, so I probably didn't have as much problem with that, but I do remember,
Oh.
like, you didn't have privacy
The
and you had to wait.
fights about the phone. Well, and from there, then it went into the car phone. I remember one of my friends, her dad had a car phone, and I was like, "Wow, he's
Yeah.
important." And then
And they were huge
and
and,
they were
heavy.
huge, and it was like a big box.
Yep.
And then we went into the cell phones, but that was way later.
Way later. And
Way
back
later.
up, because before all of that, when you got call waiting,
Oh yeah,
which was huge,
that was
because
the beep.
otherwise
we called
if
it
you-
the beep. We have the beep.
the beep. But that was huge. Think about that, because if you were on the phone and someone else was trying to get you, too bad.
Yeah.
Remember the busy signal? Could
I
you
know,
imagine
nowadays
now?
you get that and you're like, "What? What is that? There's no such thing."
And imagine being parents then, because now, like, if your kid's not texting, you're like, where are they? What are they doing? And we have such easy access to them, really.
Yeah.
I mean, they
we
can ignore us if they want,
hop
but
on an app
not
and
like
see
getting
where they
imagine
are,
getting a
how
business
fast
signal.
they're driving. No, no,
No.
that would not work for me. Saturday AM cartoons.
Oh, my favorite. That
Wrestling cartoons.
Did you watch the wrestling cartoon? No, you stop
Wrestling
it.
was the big. Didn't you watch
Oh
it
my
too?
gosh, I was
Everybody
like
did.
a
That was that
WWF
wasn't like-
junkie, but I'm just shocked that you loved that. And how have we
Or
not had
maybe
that
I-
conversation?
Maybe I remembered that and brought that up because I think you've said that before.
I
like
was
how
gonna say, maybe my
big
memories are
into-
becoming your memories. I can't
That's what
imagine.
happens the older you are.
Oh,
the longer you're
WWF.
together. Oh my
The Saturday
goodness.
morning cartoons were the
I
best. I'd
just
watch them with my
remember,
brothers.
shoot. Now that's a trip. That's an exercise in your memory. Is going back and thinking the Smurfs.
I was gonna say the Smurfs
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
And
Oh, geez. I don't know why am I thinking of the Snorkels now too. Wasn't it the Snorkels? They came on after the Smurfs. They were sort of like the Smurfs, but they lived under the sea and they had us. You don't remember the Snorkels?
I don't know.
Bugs Bunny.
Yes.
mean, the Looney
Oh,
Tunes.
So that was on Sundays at our house.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
feel like it was Saturdays for us. I don't know, but
It probably
that
was.
was the best because okay, so my kids never had this because Saturday mornings now growing up are so
Right.
busy. You're running
You're up,
every
you're
which
out the
way.
door. You
But-
barely have time to eat.
Yeah, and there was something to be said when we grew up, like Saturday mornings were slow. Your mom or your dad made the pancakes and the breakfast. You were
Yeah.
all in the house. You ate your breakfast,
true. That's
watching the
true.
cartoons were on. They ended
I
at what, 11
remember-
or 12, and
yeah.
then your day could start.
And when you were young enough, when you were a teenager, maybe you didn't do it, but like when you were in junior high or whatever, like I would be so excited for Saturday morning cartoons. I would wake up at 5.
Of course you would. I didn't. I'd like to sleep
Like it
even
was
then.
dark and I would get up and I'd be like, I watched hours and hours on end
Yeah.
of that. But that's a great point. It was just slow. You didn't have anywhere to go. This was
It
your
was
day.
a simple thing, and
Yeah,
you all hung
simple.
out. I was on the floor with my brothers. I can remember like
Yeah.
laying on the floor,
Elbows.
elbows
hand in
down,
your-
head propped,
Yeah.
your food. Sometimes my mom or dad would make breakfast a lot, but sometimes it was like the breakfast cereals with the gift inside. Oh, not, yeah.
I know. It's a wonder we made it here.
No,
Right?
I know, right? But those were, and here's the thing, like to your point about getting up at 5 in the morning, getting ready to watch it, because you didn't have them on demand. You didn't have access to them.
Mhm.
You literally could not
If you
watch it through
missed
the
it,
rest
you
of your
missed it.
week until Saturday.
Yeah. That's funny. I've got to go back now and do a YouTube search for all of the Saturday morning cartoons. How about
Yeah.
that one with it would come on in between and it was the grammar educational.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
yes.
Like they're still on today at times. They're like and they would teach you about like a bill, how a bill becomes law.
Yes,
And
yes, yes, yes,
what is
yes. Was
that?
that on Saturday morning? I can't think of it. I feel
Yeah,
like that
think
was
it would
Sesame
be
Street.
in between. It was oh gosh, you guys out there, you're probably
Somebody will know. I
can't
know
believe
what you
it.
mean.
Yeah.
I cannot place the name
Yeah,
of it.
and they would have all these fun songs and
Yeah,
that
to
was
get you to
good.
learn it.
Mhm.
How about, this might be past your time. Gem? Did you watch Gem?
Yes.
Truly outrageous. Truly, truly,
Keep singing. That's funny.
No. Nobody wants to hear that.
No,
I've already
she was-
gotten made fun of just my voice in general, let alone my singing voice.
Oh.
That poor soul, if you're watching, I'm gonna put a clip of me singing just to upset her. So somebody on our Instagram
Like I
account just
said, it's debatable between who she was talking about. She never said, "Hey, you, Dr. Brooke." It could have been me, and because every time it's funny how your voice just is your least favorite sound in the world, no matter
I
no
know,
matter
it's true.
what your voice is like.
Yeah.
All right. Here's a little moment of pause. 1980 was 44 years ago. Can you believe that?
No.
44 years ago. Like, I'm going to be 50. That's nuts.
I know I went to bed last night thinking of that, and I think because I'm here and I know maybe it was on my brain.
Because I'm old.
No, no, I mean, I'm right behind you, really. But like, we're gonna be 50.
I know, 50 years old.
And
Remember
I know
that
someone's gonna
meme?
what?
Remember that meme we posted Saturday Night Live with?
Oh yeah.
Oh shoot, gosh, our memories.
Mary Catherine Gallagher. It's not her, but the one
Yeah,
that did Mary
yeah.
Catherine. I'm 50 and I'm
50 years
fabulous.
old.
There's three. I forget her
That's a
name.
good name.
Anyway, go back and look at us on our TikTok and our Instagram, I think.
Yeah, it is on Instagram.
Yes, I know. And some people are gonna probably write into us and say, try, you think 50s, like wait till you're 77.
Yeah,
But yeah, I
this
know
is
it's
true.
all relative. But
Thank you.
so to that point, just really quickly, we could talk about old movies too. And you just mentioned some of them. I was just talking to Lila, your daughter, yesterday about this new movie that's out. It's like a rom-com. And in the movie, the dad was a heartthrob when we were watching movies,
Oh,
and
that's
he
interesting.
looked so old,
Old.
I thought,
Oh,
and so washed up.
no.
And they made him
Who
like the
was
dopey
it?
dad, because he was definitely not like the star. Like the new star was like the little
Yeah.
kids that looked like they were
What's the
12.
movie? Now I want to see it just to get
Anyone
upset.
But You.
Okay, I've heard.
Did you watch it? Because Lila watched it. Did
Yep.
you watch it with her?
No.
And it's
telling me
the
to-
guy from My Best Friend's Wedding.
Oh,
D-
the
say his name. Dermot
McDream.
no.
Yeah.
My Best Friend's Wedding.
Oh,
Julia
Dermot-
Roberts
Dermot
and
Mulroney.
Cam. Yes, Dermot.
Dermot. Yeah, but he wasn't back in the 80s. He was in a heart.
No, I'm making it
he was,
less than
though.
it
Wasn't
was.
he?
But imagine that even
No.
it wasn't that long ago that My Best Friend's actually, though, My Best Friend's Wedding's probably 30 years old.
Wow. Somebody Google that.
It's gotta be. Anyway,
Couple other things
point
on
is,
here.
we're
Reader's
getting older.
Digest.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that?
And the TV guide.
Yes, the TV guide and the yellow pages. I saw a meme.
the
I think
yellow
it might have been on grew up in the 70s and 80s, which is like back in the day, they used to deliver a book with your name and your
It's
address.
true. And I'm gonna guess that you built your first business with
Yes.
Yellow Page
Yeah.
ads.
So it hasn't been gone for that long. Betamax, VHS.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember getting your first? There was two. The VHS obviously won out, but at the time it was Betamax or the
Yep.
competing technologies, and we got a Betamax. And I mean, that thing was like the
I remember
size
that too.
of
And they were
a
big
large
cartridges, right? That
microwave.
you had to put.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And it would feed out and you'd have to rewind
How
it.
did you remember that? The name of that. I mean, I remember the
Oh,
technology,
because
but I
it
would
was
never remember it was
huge.
called
It
Betamax.
was like a Friday and my dad brings home this thing and it's burned in my brain forever
You were so
because it
excited
was
about it.
so exciting that we had one. And I mean, at the time they were like $300, which was a lot of money for
Yeah.
any type of technology. And I mean, then years later they were, so cheap.
Right.
So starting out, and you would go to the video store. Remember that? Like on a Friday night.
Oh, that was the thing to do. Go to
Yeah.
the video store
Yeah.
and shop for
Yep.
what movie you wanted. Absolutely.
Yep, and the snacks. Staying out until dark. Did you do that? Did you play outside a
Oh
lot
my
when you were
goodness.
younger, right?
Yes,
I
we
feel
grew
so
up
bad
on
for
like a
our
dead end
kids.
lane,
Yeah.
and my next door neighbor was the girls around my same age, so we were out. I mean,
Yeah.
yes.
When the lights came on, that was when you knew you had to come home. And just
Mhm.
if you put yourself in that place, can't you just like feel the
Oh,
smell of the fresh air on you when you came in? And
yes. Nothing
you
like
were
it.
tired from playing and fresh air and yeah,
Such a
I
good
mean, we would
feeling.
play everything, all the things like baseball and
Mhm.
just ride bikes and,
Did you ever play TV
skip
tag?
rocks. What is it?
TV tag?
What is that?
Oh, it was so much
Sounds
fun.
fun.
It was basically tag, but if the person that was it went to tag you and you had to squat down to the ground and say a TV show, and if you did, you were safe. If you couldn't come up with one quick enough or they got to you first. Maybe that's not like that's not a well-known thing. Maybe we just made
You
that up.
probably made it up because that's what we did. We made up
Yeah.
so many games,
Oh my
just
gosh.
all the things,
Yep.
and then you'd have them in your rotation
Yep.
and yeah,
So
playing
much fun.
outdoors for hours, walking everywhere. I remember I mean,
Was it uphill both ways in the snow?
right? Pretty much in Newfoundland, it probably was. But just walking everywhere and riding bike. I remember like eighth grade, which would have been because in Newfoundland we couldn't get our driver's license till probably 10th or 11th grade, and eighth grade we rode our bikes all around the city,
Did
like
you?
miles and miles. Yeah,
I didn't grow up in that setting. I could have never, because once we got off our dead end lane, it was you
yeah.
couldn't
No,
you couldn't ride your bike. But yes, I
we
mean, I
probably
know
shouldn't
in
have.
town, we were just outside of town, but in town, the kids rode their bikes everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
so different now.
Oh my
kids.
gosh,
I
completely.
mean, they'll be fine because they'll have their memories. I'm sure, just like our parents before us.
I know.
We're worse off, right?
Yeah, but I just wonder, like, so
I know what you're gonna
another
say.
thing,
There's a tipping point with that where it does actually get worse, and I think the technology
well, it's just that
takes away.
everything to the point about like you had to wait to watch your Saturday morning
Mhm.
cartoons. You had to wait to use the phone. Another thing I was going to mention was like cameras and waiting to get the film developed
Oh
until we had
yeah,
Polaroids.
remember
Remember
that?
Polaroids? But there's something to be said for having to wait a little bit for what you
Yeah.
want, and everything is so on demand now that the don't you see it, like the
Yeah,
entitlement and the like
no delayed
you want
gratification.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everything's
it's
instant.
so some of this stuff is not. We sound old.
We do, but
Back in
it's
my
true.
day.
You didn't have jeans like with holes in them. No, it's true. No, it is true because I think that there's an element of that we should retain, of just waiting for things,
Yeah,
like just to that
not
point
instant
alone.
gratification.
Yeah.
There's something to be said for
Yeah. I
that.
mean, people are so whiny now if you really think about it. They're like, ah, like you yesterday. The Wi-Fi was so bad
Yeah, but it was true,
on
and
your
I was trying to work.
plane.
But
I know, but you know what I'm getting at is like to think that you can get on the internet. I remember getting my first computer. That's also on my list. I mean, I might have been in university when the internet was invented.
I mean,
So
yeah,
if you're younger than 40 and you're listening to this, that's how old I am.
you were, yeah. I
Yeah.
think I was too.
I was dating a guy who was a business major and he was like really into the internet. And I'm like, what is this? And he would try to tell me about it because he was like so lit up about it. I'm like, it's probably a fad.
You missed that mark. What to your point though, let's backtrack to the Wi-Fi because you brought up a good point. And this is probably something that has hurt us. I know it's hurt me that we once again access to everything and that you can literally get Wi-Fi and work while you're on a plane, which helps me because I can get so much done. But also, you know, back in the day, if you got on a flight, you had to, what were you going to do? Read a book? Talk to the person next to you? I mean, something just relax, take a nap. Now
Wow.
you can watch a show, you can watch
I
TV,
know.
it's all there on the screen. You can
Don't you
access
do
the
you
internet and
remember
work.
being on a plane and turning around and looking at your parents back there with the smoke going up?
No.
Oh yeah, they would seat us in a different section and they just like smoked the entire trip.
No, I don't remember.
Oh yeah,
I
you could
I don't
smoke
think
on
we
a
traveled.
plane.
My mom was afraid to fly, so when we were really young,
Yeah,
I don't
you could
remember.
smoke on a plane.
Can you imagine the
No, I
smoking?
remember. I can imagine smoking. Nobody smokes anymore. Everybody vapes, which is not any healthier,
No,
in
it's
my
not
opinion.
probably not any safer now.
But what have you.
So
At least we don't have to deal with the smell of the smoke as much.
yeah, because secondhand we now
Yeah.
know is just as bad.
Yeah.
So what about you talked about the big hair? Did you do the
Yes.
side pony? I was notorious for a side ponytail,
Um,
a big high
I
one on
bet
my
you
head.
were. That does not surprise
Oh,
me.
I thought
That's so
I was
funny.
like the
Side
coolest.
Pony Brooke.
And the jelly shoes. Did you have
Jelly
jellies?
shoes.
All different colors.
Yeah. Jelly bracelets.
Yep. Oh, yeah, those were really popular.
Yeah. We had so many more fads, don't you think? Or maybe they still have fads nowadays and we used to have
I
fads.
think so. I just
Yeah.
well,
They were simpler,
yeah, maybe. Maybe that's what it is.
cheaper.
Much cheaper. Oh my goodness. For sure.
Yeah. No, I had the big, we call it the Mount Pearl curl because the girls that were really into
The
it,
what?
the Mount Pearl curl. So that was a town right outside of St. John's, and it's called Mount Pearl. And it was, where you had the curling iron, and I mean, it was teased up.
With Aquanet?
Yeah, with something. I don't know, because I never had one that big. But those girls in Mount
I bet
Pearl,
Paula did.
yeah, she probably did. And the perm.
Oh
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. And there's nothing like when you perm your hair and then you curl it and then you like it's like feathered out. Oh my gosh, it's so bad.
Not good.
No, not cute.
What else are we? I know I'm going to get off and say, "Oh, I wish I had mentioned this
I
or mentioned
know.
that."
Well, just all of it. Would you go back if you had to go back to a decade?
Oh, that's a good
Would you go
question.
back to the 80s or 70s? There was a lot happening. AIDS, remember? Ronald Reagan, Reaganomics. Um, just all the movies that were coming out was a big time in cinema. E.T. and
Oh my
Star
gosh.
Wars and all those
A lot
movies.
Goonies.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Remember the Goonies?
Yeah.
I remember, I don't know about going back, but just something else came to mind. Like my next door neighbor, so we were on a softball team and my dad coached, and her dad would take us to practice sometimes if my dad would sometimes come from work. And they had one of those extra long station wagons. And was long enough that you could have 3 rows, but the third row was backward facing.
Yes. How about that?
That was not
on
safe.
vacation in Florida, we would sit and we would fight over who got to sit back there.
What she and I know there could be nobody else in the car,
I
but
mean,
she and
I
I
get
were both
rear-ended.
smashed back there, waving and making faces at the people behind you, like when you were stopped at a light. But how unsafe was that?
I know. I mean, we didn't wear seatbelts half the time back then.
Yeah.
I remember my mom talking about how they drove home across a couple of provinces when my sister was really young, and they just had her propped up in the back, like in her baby blanket of this VW Beetle, like in the, these used to have the little back area of the cars.
Can you imagine?
I mean, I lived it, so I can imagine it, but I can't imagine doing that now.
No.
And I mean, Lila was in a car seat till she was.
Well, first of all, you'd have your
in
kid taken from
grade.
you.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that would, right?
We
You
just
can't.
No. That's why I love watching all those shows that bring you back to that time. There's something so innocent about them.
Oh, I
And by
know.
the way,
So
it's
true.
refreshing to watch them because they don't have the the filter on it that we do now, the political correctness,
Yeah.
like, and sometimes
Worried
it's
about offending
shocking.
someone. I know.
I know. And you're like, wow, like we didn't worry about bullying back then or body
Not
shaming or
one
any of those
little
things.
bit.
But you know what? We were just not as sensitive either, and I think there's something to be said for that.
Yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons because I think you can take either direction to an
Yes.
extreme. But even Seinfeld, Kenny and I are going back and watching Seinfeld because we just recently saw him live. I feel like I keep repeating myself. I may have said this in a previous episode, but even that I thought at the time was so just funny and like light that he would never get away with half the stuff he talks about now. Never.
I think it's great. I love to watch it. What about that show with the family? They're Jewish, set in the 80s. The
The
young
Goldbergs?
Yes,
Oh my
Meet the
gosh, don't you love
Goldbergs.
watching that?
That's a great show. It's a
Yes,
great
that
show.
that takes me back when I watch it. You know what else just came to mind, and we talked for a second about I think we were talking about music. Maybe you and I've already talked about this, but maybe it was my mom. Did you see the documentary on Netflix of USA for Africa?
No, I was gonna say, is it Live Aid?
It wasn't Live Aid. It was wait, was it called USA for Africa? Yeah, it was USA for Africa.
Okay.
When all the
It was
singers
similar.
um
Yes, when they got together, like, and
and they
sang
put
We
this
Are the
song,
World.
We Are the World. Maybe it wasn't USA for Africa. Maybe it was just the We Are the World. I don't know what it was called, but it was the documentary. It's the documentary around the making of that song.
Oh, wow, I bet that was really good.
It
Just
is
to get all those
fabulous.
mm,
All of those
amazing
people
people.
but do you remember that when that came
Yes,
out?
it
Oh
was
my gosh, it was
huge.
huge.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember and they show it in I didn't realize it at the time, but they show it in the documentary that what they did was at the exact same time around the world, every single radio station aired that song.
Oh, wow.
And I can remember being young when it came out and hearing it live
Yeah, it was a
and
good song.
because they all the radio stations built up like it's coming this day, get ready, like all these musicians came and did it, but it was released like and it shows on the documentary like people all over the world listening to it and like
Oh, that's
dancing
really
to
cool.
it and
I have
stuff.
to check that out.
But
You'll have to link in
you
the show
will love
notes
it.
the name of the documentary.
I will. As much as you love music,
Yeah.
it was just and it was so the way it happened, just even that type of thing back in the day, it was just like all of these art, they all just showed up.
Wow.
And they have live footage of it, them showing up in their cars or their driver dropping them off and getting all I don't know that that
Cool.
would happen now. That
No.
many that much talent in one room.
Yeah, whoever organized that, orchestrated that must have had quite a bit of power and influence to
Yeah.
sway them all to get them there. And
Oh my gosh. And I didn't
it
know this,
was,
but Michael Jackson and Lionel Richie wrote that song together.
I think I did know that or had heard it
So
at one point.
Lionel Richie talks he's
That's
basically like
awesome.
the
I love
MC
him.
kind of for the
Yeah,
documentary, and he talks through the whole thing, the making of it.
he's so
And
amazing.
do you remember Harry Belafonte?
Yes, of
Of
course.
course you know him. But,
What
I
the
feel like it was
nights
his
you won't be
idea.
like
I
home.
think it was his idea because he was so upset about what was happening in Africa. They made the song because of
Mhm.
the famine, and I think he was the one that got the ball rolling on it. And anyway, when they were all there, it was his birthday. It was either his birthday or they were just celebrating because he was the one that had the idea
Yep.
for it. But that and they show it in the documentary, all of those stars that are in there sing that song to him.
Oh, wow.
Day oh, it was so it gives me chills
Oh,
to think about it, just watching the live raw
that's
footage.
great.
It was really
We got off a little bit on track there, but
I know,
there's
but
something special there with just creating a movement and planting a seed about how it just takes one idea, one person, and then a few other people to jump in and you
yeah.
can create something really amazing from that.
And I
It's
think
enduring.
yeah, and I think that that was maybe they said in the documentary the first one that set off all these other like
Mhm.
Live Aid, Farm Aid. Then there was Hands Across America. Do you remember
Yes.
that?
Yeah.
So all of those things
Yeah.
catapulted off of that.
Yeah.
Of
I would
the
love to see a return to some of that, just more outside of ourselves and, giving back and raising money, coming
I
together
know.
for cause. I would love to see a return for that. Yeah. So let's close this out. Anything else that is sticking in your mind, coming to mind from what year were you born?
76.
Oh, not that much older than me.
I know you always act like I mean, it's fun to watch you do that in your head, think you're so much older than me, but really we're not that far apart. But I think let's end it with what decade would you go back to?
Oh, this is tough. Every time I watch like one of these shows, like right now I'm watching The Gilded Age and I'm like, would I
Ooh,
go
wait,
back
what's
that
that?
far? It's really good. It's with like Christine Baranski and Cynthia Nixon, and it's set in New York. Went back in the time of like the railway, when the railway was being made across the country, and all of the money that was being made. And it's the old money and the new money.
Oh,
It's really good. But that's a little too far back for me.
what
I think
decade was
it's
that?
like the 1850s, isn't it? 1860s, like
Probably.
sort of after the Civil War.
Yeah,
That would be after the Civil War, right? No.
I'm not a history buff.
We should know that. But maybe it's a little bit later. Maybe it's more like 1880, 1890. I think that might be the case. I would go back to, there's something really special about 50s.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah, it's after the war, so it was
I
a
was-
happier time. It's kind of before everything was so tumultuous in the 60s, you know, that was so crazy if you look at the 60s. The 50s was just sort of a sweet spot in America, I think.
I was gonna say the exact
Yeah.
same thing because it was after the war.
Now, a
everyone-
lot of women sitting there will go, "Are you serious? Women were so like,
Yeah, that's
you know,
true.
civil rights hadn't come far." And I agree, all of those things. We've only hopefully can say that we've done a job in getting better on those fronts. But yeah, from my perspective, I think it would be interesting to see like mostly nuclear families, what that looked like.
Mhm. Yeah,
It's a very sweet thought for me to just kind of think back to that innocent stage, and also it wasn't perfect, so it would be interesting to go back there and just see the problems that arise, and maybe we would really just appreciate our time so much more.
yeah. I was gonna say the same thing. There's something about even the music and I
The
just right.
poodle skirts and
So thinking of like Frank Sinatra
Mhm.
and
love that. Yeah.
just that the music of that
Mhm.
time, that would have been like, well, no, that was that White Christmas or White Christmas was before that,
Mhm.
the movie, like just
Yep.
all of that, the dance and
Mhm. Okay, we should clue it up.
sorry, I know you're like, okay, Brooke,
We're
enough.
wandering now.
I know, but okay, but yes, okay, the 50s, we'll go with that. All right, ladies, Dr. Lynn
was
has
fun.
given me
It was fun
the
for me.
it was fun until it wasn't. All right, ladies, thank you for bearing with us and for joining us today. Make sure you're following us on all of our platforms: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We have a private Facebook group. We've got the Life After Kids membership community. You can go to the website, www.lifeafterkids.com, and find all the things there, including all of our free resources that we have for you. Make sure you reach out via DM or email. We're always happy to help out if we can.
Yes.
Have a great day, ladies.
Gosh.